Pregame.com.
Preakness preview. We're going to take a look at the Kentucky Derby winner. I'll have another. Dave, the question is, will he have another win in his arsenal on Saturday?
He doesn't have much to face here. Most people feeling that, the Derby horses are coming back. Obviously, Bodemeister is the main threat. But the new shooters, there's no Red Bullet out there. There's no Bernardini. He's got a relatively soft spot here. But obviously, wasn't he wasn't a big long shot, but he wasn't one of the top contenders for the Derby. So he's definitely got to earn it. But as we saw in the Derby, he got the perfect trip. And although a lot of times, almost by default, the Derby winner, you always, I think,
gets the perfect trip.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast before the Derby, or if it was last year and I mentioned it. I should have mentioned it. Yeah, but every year you always have the overhead shot and shows the trip they got, and everyone's like, "Oh, wow, what a perfect trip!" I mean, it's part of it when you got a 20-horse field.
Let's take away it was a perfect trip, but let's look at the schematics of the Kentucky Derby and what we're going to have here. One, he's going to have a little bit less stretch to run Bodemeister down. We're all in agreement that Bodemeister's going to be on the front end again. Does he have enough racetrack to do it? And he's going to be coming into what has to be slower fractions in the Preakness because we are default of any real speed to challenge Bodemeister. Is that enough for him to be able to duplicate what he did in the Derby? Can he overcome that?
I think he can. I mean, he was my second choice in the Derby. Obviously, I wish I would have put him on top. But I think he's really legit. I mean, obviously improving at the right time. And a little bit more pace probably would help him. But I think he's still going to be in the mix. I mean, he's still going to have a shot at the top of the stretch. With only an 11-horse field, just about half of what we saw in the Derby, right. Everyone should have pretty much the trip they want. And again, it's whether or not it's their day.
Well, he's the Derby winner. He's not the morning line favorite. Pimlico come out with him as second choice at 5-2, and I can understand the rationale. I mean, we talked about Bodemeister and the great race he had. I'll have another is definitely a horse that's moving upwards. This is still a young horse, not that many starts. I don't think we've seen the peak of I'll have another, and we've seen it so many times from the Derby to the Preakness. Sometimes it's almost like an instant replay of the last race. You see the same horses all at the wire at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's 16 out of the last 40 years. The horse that won the Derby has won the Preakness. Now, obviously, Belmont's a whole different animal. So usually the form does carry to the Preakness. All
right, well, there you have it. Both Dave and myself, we feel that I'll have another is going to be right there in the mix on Saturday in the Preakness. You're not going to get the odds you had in the Derby, but he is still strong for the Preakness on Saturday. We're going to be right back here on pregame.tv. We're going to take a look at Creative Cause next in the Preakness.